fairy on the mountain warmly greets everyone. If you come across this video, it means we are destined to meet. I have a method to improve your destiny, one that can reveal divine secrets. Would you like to hear about it? This is no exaggeration. If you listen sincerely, perhaps you will find the key to a happy path, freeing yourself from all worries and enjoying a peaceful, serene life. No longer will you be troubled by trivial matters or sleepless nights. Everyone who enters this world possesses a unique account. I call it a fortune account. It is similar to a bank account as we know it. You may have noticed that some people often lament the unfairness of life. There are those born into poverty, for whom even having enough to eat or wear is a luxury. From a young age, they struggle through hardship, lacking money for education or healthcare, and their lives are filled with trials. In contrast, some people are born into wealthy families, enjoying the best conditions. They are naturally gifted, attend prestigious universities, and achieve success in their careers. Life seems to always favor them. You may wonder why there is such a stark disparity between people. The answer lies in the fact that when each person is born, the balance in their fortune account differs. Some carry a heavy debt, as if destiny never smiled upon them. Meanwhile, others seem to possess an inexhaustible fortune account, and their lives are always smooth sailing. However, just because someone is born with a full fortune account doesn't mean their entire life will always be easy. No matter how much fortune one has, if they continuously commit bad deeds, that fortune will gradually deplete. Every time someone does wrong, harbors ill intent, or exploits others, the balance in their fortune account decreases. Eventually, when their fortune is exhausted, misfortune will quietly descend upon them, manifesting in four aspects. A deteriorating appearance. We may observe this in people who were once famous in business or politics. When they fail, their former glow vanishes, replaced by a tired and discouraged look, as if they have lost all vitality. This change is known as the decline of appearance. Alienation by loved ones and friends. During prosperous times, they may have had many friends willing to help. But when difficulties arise, those friends gradually disappear, leaving them isolated and unsupported. This state of loneliness only exacerbates their struggles. Surrounded by misfortune. When someone is in a period of good fortune, everything seems to go smoothly, as if the world paves the way for them. But if they don't cherish their fortune and practice kindness, once their fortune runs out, misfortune will relentlessly follow. At this point, they might encounter countless unlucky events, big or small, and their lives become filled with unhappiness and failures. Constant legal troubles. When their fortune account is completely depleted, they may face ongoing legal issues. These could stem from past unlawful acts or business mistakes leading to disputes. This is why our ancestors said, "Justice delayed is not justice denied." This saying implies that some may question why certain people who commit many evils still live long and healthy lives. The reason is not that there is no retribution, but that the fortune accumulated from their past lives has not yet been exhausted. Even though they continuously squander this fortune, it may not run out in their lifetime. For example, someone may be born with a fortune equivalent to billions, but their life is filled with wicked acts. Despite this, their fortune seems endless, allowing them to enjoy its benefits while continuing their wrongdoings. You may feel that life is unfair, but in reality, their fortune account is simply vast and hasn't been emptied yet. However, this fortune will continue to pass on to their descendants to spend. Once depleted, retribution will finally arrive. Some may wonder, if someone is born without fortune or with a heavy burden of debt, does that mean they must endure it for life? How can they increase their fortune? Buddhism teaches us to practice kindness and generosity. Generosity is not only about material support but also about spiritual giving. Material giving Tai Bo Ti. When others are in difficult situations, extending a helping hand and providing material support is called material giving. This is the first step in accumulating fortune. Teaching and guiding Phap Bo Ti. When others are confused and don't know what to do, guiding them and sharing knowledge is known as teaching and guiding. This not only helps accumulate fortune but also spreads wisdom to others. Fearlessness giving vo uy bo ti. This involves giving not material goods or methods but wisdom. When someone cannot let go, see clearly, or find peace in their suffering, helping them achieve enlightenment is called fearlessness giving. The merit and fortune from this act are even greater. However, some may say, I'm always willing to help others, yet why am I still poor, with an unhappy marriage, disobedient children, and a sick body? At such times, we need to reflect. Are we genuinely helping others? Is our help sincere and selfless? Is our heart filled with kindness and compassion? I once had a student who shared his frustrations with me. He felt that the results he received were disproportionate to his efforts in helping others. He lamented that instead of gratitude, he faced blame and betrayal. Relatives criticized him, and a close friend betrayed him, leaving him deeply disappointed. I listened and gently asked him one question. When your relatives criticized and your close friend betrayed you, what did you think of them? He grew angry and began listing their faults, calling his relatives ungrateful and his friend untrustworthy. His words were filled with resentment and curses, as if the whole world owed him fairness. I softly interrupted him and asked, "Do you know why you didn't receive good results?" Clearly, he did not expect me to ask such a question. I said to him, "In fact, you haven't accumulated anything in your fortune account. Everything you've done has stemmed from the expectation of receiving something in return. But when those expectations aren't met, you immediately feel resentment and hatred. With such a mindset, how can you accumulate fortune?" He was stunned, seemingly not expecting me to speak so directly to his inner thoughts. I continued explaining, anger and resentment are negative energies. Not only do they fail to help you accumulate fortune, but they also deplete your energy and passion. You resent your relatives for being ungrateful and your friends for betrayal, but this attitude only brings you more suffering. He listened silently, clearly reflecting on what I had said, which had struck a chord with him. I continued, doing good deeds shouldn't be about expecting something in return. When you help others, it should come from kindness and love in your heart, not with the expectation of receiving something in return. Only then can you truly accumulate fortune. It seemed he understood what I was saying. He nodded in agreement. I elaborated further. The principle of the fortune account is simple. Every act of kindness you do adds to your fortune account. This fortune does not disappear, even if someone betrays or resents you. On the contrary, it will return to you in various forms. Perhaps an unexpected opportunity, a turning point in your life, or a moment when you escape danger. These blessings are the result of the fortune you've accumulated. Hearing this, he quietly pondered for a long time. Finally, he looked up and said, "Teacher, now I understand. Before, I always expected others to reciprocate. When they didn't, I felt resentment. Now I realize I was wrong. I need to view each act of kindness as a way to accumulate fortune for myself, not as a way to receive something from others." I smiled and said, "Exactly. Remember, any contribution you make to others, as long as you do not expect anything in return and do not harbor resentment when you aren't rewarded, will be recorded in your fortune account by heaven and earth. This fortune will be returned to you in different ways, as determined by the heavens." He bowed deeply, thanking me for my guidance. Watching him leave, I felt he had found his path. I hoped he would continue on that path, accumulating more fortune and enjoying the good things in life. So what is hatred? Is hatred a form of positive or negative energy? Think about it. When you speak malicious words, calling your relatives ungrateful and your friends betrayers, even cursing them with misfortune, are those attitudes correct? Have you lost the kindness in your words? Are your words filled with malice? Is it right to expect others to reciprocate your kindness, and when they don't, to harbor resentment and even curse them? Is such a mindset truly kind? In my view, it is no different from the actions of demons. Some may ask, does this mean that if I do good deeds for others, even if they betray me, I still have to help them count the money they've taken from me? This is a misunderstanding. Your blessings are not dependent on others' responses but come from the kindness and selflessness in your heart. When you understand this principle, you'll realize that the kindness you show others is actually a way of adding to your own fortune account. Imagine helping others selflessly without expecting anything in return. Even if someone deceives you, you can maintain a calm and peaceful mindset. This attitude increases the fortune in your account. Your kindness will be rewarded in a way that's just and fitting. Someday, you may meet someone who has never helped you but becomes your benefactor. Or you may encounter a situation where danger turns into safety. These are rewards from the heavens. Therefore, I want to tell you that every contribution you make to others, as long as you don't expect anything in return, harbor resentment, or hold grudges, will be added to your fortune account by the heavens. This account will continually grow, and the heavens will reward you in different ways. This is the law of the universe and absolute fairness. So, when you face difficulties or challenges, don't blame others or lose your kindness and selflessness. Believe that as long as you live true to yourself, the heavens will respond to you in the best way. Because in this world, the principle of good begets good and evil begets evil is an eternal truth. People don't need to blindly believe in mysticism, but they must understand the law of cause and effect. So, what is cause and effect? Cause and effect are the manifestation of divine truth, the cycle of retribution. Everything in this world, big or small, exists for a specific reason and outcome. Every event that occurs has an underlying cause, and the result appears because the cause exists. Those who deeply believe in the law of cause and effect understand that everything in the world has a clear distinction between good and evil, right and wrong. Many things that seem random are, in fact, rooted in essential causes. It's as if an invisible hand is guiding everything. That is the will of the heavens. The boy collapsed into a pool of blood. The villagers were horrified and deeply mourned his passing, cursing the heavens for their injustice. Why would someone so kind and good-hearted meet such a tragic end? At that moment, the legendary Bao Zheng, known as Bao Qingtian, happened to pass through the village. The villagers rushed to stop his carriage, demanding justice for the boy. They implored Bao Zheng to restore fairness and questioned why good people often meet unfortunate fates and how they could continue to do good in such a world. Bao Zheng, deeply moved by their emotions, took a moment to reflect. He then picked up his brush and wrote 6 large characters. Sanyo Sanbal, Yo Urabal. Good is rewarded, evil is punished, before leaving. Upon returning to the capital, Bao Zheng presented the events and his observations to the emperor. However, he concealed the fact that he had written the 6 characters, as he felt they were somewhat simplistic and incomplete in explaining the boy's fate. After hearing Bao Zheng's account, the emperor fell silent, deep in thought. A few days later, the empress gave birth to a prince. The prince was fair-skinned, with a rosy complexion and adorable features, but he cried incessantly day and night, causing great worry for the emperor. The emperor summoned Bao Zheng to investigate the cause. Upon examining the prince, Bao Zheng noticed a peculiar mark on the prince's small hand. Looking closer, he was stunned to see the 6 characters he had written previously. Overcome with embarrassment, Bao Zheng attempted to erase the words, but as soon as he touched them, they vanished. Strangely, only Bao Zheng could see the characters. Others perceived them as a birthmark. The emperor misunderstood Bao Zheng's actions, believing he had erased the prince's divine blessing. Enraged, the emperor scolded him for his audacity. Bao Zheng immediately knelt and confessed everything about the 6 characters. After hearing the truth, the emperor was perplexed and ordered Bao Zheng to use the yin-yang pillow to descend to the underworld and uncover the true reason behind the boy's fate. Following the emperor's orders, Bao Zheng placed the yin-yang pillow on his bed and quickly entered the underworld. After investigating, the truth was revealed. In his previous life, the boy had committed numerous heinous deeds and accumulated heavy karmic debts. To atone, he was destined to endure 3 lifetimes of suffering. In the first life, he was born disabled and orphaned. In the second, he was blind in both eyes. In the third, he would be struck by lightning and die alone in the wilderness. However, in his current life of poverty and disability, the boy had completely transformed. He abandoned evil, embraced goodness, and devoted himself to helping others. Seeing this, the king of hell decided to consolidate the 3 lifetimes of karmic retribution into one. The boy endured blindness without complaint and continued to do good deeds. Consequently, the king of hell decided to include the suffering of the 3rd lifetime into the 1st, allowing the boy to complete his karmic debt in one life. After this, the king of hell asked Bao Zheng, "What do you think? Condensing 3 lifetimes of retribution into one, do you see it as good or bad?" Bao Zheng was speechless, but deep in his heart, he admired the king of hell's arrangement. Not only did the boy repay his karmic debt, but through his kindness and good deeds, he accumulated immense virtue. Upon his death, he was immediately reborn as a prince, destined for a life of prosperity. Bao Zheng returned to the mortal world, now even more steadfast in his belief in the principles of karma and justice. He continued to dedicate himself to upholding righteousness, protecting the people, and ensuring fairness. The story of the boy spread widely among the villagers, becoming a lesson in kindness and good deeds, inspiring people to act virtuously and accumulate merit. Dear friend, let me remind you not to interfere lightly in others' lives. Each person has their unique karma. In the world of adults, everyone must learn life's lessons on their own instead of being forced to follow someone else's guidance. Each individual has their destiny and path, which we cannot and should not alter. Our expectations of others often stem from selfishness. Each person has their way of living and their values. We must respect their choices rather than trying to change them. This, of course, does not mean ignoring their mistakes. When someone's actions harm themselves or others, we need the courage to point out their errors and help them amend their ways. However, this doesn't mean forcing them to change. Instead, through guidance and enlightenment, we can help them recognize their mistakes and take proactive steps toward resolution. We must also understand that life is full of challenges and hardships. These trials shape resilience and the spirit to overcome adversity. Therefore, we should cherish these experiences as valuable assets for growth rather than burdens to avoid. A wise monk once said that the greatest truth in life lies in understanding and believing in karma. Looking at today's society, the divorce rate among married couples is increasingly high. Why? It is because many people don't know how to create positive bonds in marriage. Spouses often criticize one another, leading to mutual dissatisfaction. This behavior fosters negative karma. No matter how deep their love was, if they continue to create negative karma within the marriage, it's unlikely to yield a happy outcome. Someone may ask, how can we turn negative karma into positive karma? The truth is, every bond can be transformed. Even if 2 people were once enemies, by responding to hatred with kindness, they can eventually reconcile. Naturally, some may worry that their kindness will go unrewarded or even result in harm. But the act of transforming karma doesn't mean immediate reciprocation for your sacrifices. Let me share a story. There was a husband who deeply loved and cared for his wife. However, the wife seemed insatiable, continuously demanding more from him and taking his sacrifices for granted. She treated him like a source of endless wealth, transferring family assets to her maternal relatives. She purchased houses, cars, and even supported her siblings, allowing her family to live a comfortable life while her husband had nothing in his name. Friends around him advised him to confront her, exposing her true nature. But he seemed enchanted, persistently staying by her side. They asked him why he endured such treatment when she didn't even consider him family. He simply smiled without answering. Their peaceful life didn't last. When his business faced difficulties, their financial situation collapsed. The wife immediately demanded a divorce, leaving him with nothing. All the assets, properties, and wealth belonged to her and her family. The husband was left penniless. People asked why he suffered so much, giving everything only to end up like this. But life is always full of surprises. Less than a year after their divorce, he met a woman who had a remarkable ability to bring luck and success to her spouse. This woman, who had also experienced betrayal in her previous marriage, had helped her ex-husband build a successful business only to be abandoned later. Both carried the scars of betrayal and found solace in each other, becoming pillars of support through life's challenges. This woman admired his talents and potential, deciding to help him rebuild his career. Within 2 years, they created a thriving business, surpassing all his previous achievements. Their relationship deepened as they faced life's hardships together. This story illustrates the principle of good deeds yield good rewards, and bad deeds yield bad consequences. It's only a matter of time. Many people misunderstand this rule, believing that being kind to others guarantees they'll be treated kindly in return. However, the natural law doesn't work that way. When you act kindly toward others, you are accumulating positive karma for yourself. That kindness may return to you, or it may benefit others. The people in this story, perceived by outsiders as naive, possessed compassionate hearts. Their lack of resentment allowed them to meet benefactors in adversity and ultimately achieve success. Thus, a person who truly understands how to cultivate positive karma knows that sowing seeds of kindness will lead to good outcomes, though not always immediately. The key is to act with kindness without expecting a reward. Only by doing so can we genuinely accumulate positive karma and improve our lives. Additionally, we must recognize the importance of karma in all aspects of life. Marriage, parenting, business, and interpersonal relationships. Our actions and words impact others and, eventually, circle back to us. By maintaining a compassionate heart and adopting a positive attitude toward people and situations, we can gather more positive karma. Life is like planting a tree. If you nurture the seeds well, you'll eventually harvest sweet fruits. Similarly, in life, we must constantly sow seeds of kindness and use sincerity to treat others and all circumstances. Finally, understanding the law of nature doesn't mean chasing a perfect life. Instead, it teaches us to appreciate every moment, treating ourselves and others with kindness and sincerity. Only then can we truly experience the beauty and meaning of life, enriching ourselves and giving our lives greater purpose. Let us strive to cultivate positive karma, treating others and situations with kindness and sincerity. By doing so, we can make our lives more beautiful and meaningful. Trust that when we dedicate ourselves wholeheartedly, we will ultimately reap the sweet fruits of our efforts.